Yo, what's going on, everybody? Los here, coming back at you with another video. This time, Terrificon is around the corner, and I'm going to get some books signed. So, you want to see the books that I'm going to get signed, you know what to do. Hop on that train, take a journey with me. Alright, so we're back, and like I said, Terrificon is right around the corner, and there's usually a lot of artists there, and when I go, I try to get books signed that are from my personal collection. I normally don't get books signed to like sell and stuff like that. It's just a long process, and it's like tedious, and if I'm gonna do something, it's gonna be for me. So usually excuse me, usually when I go to these cons, I only go one day, so I kind of have to limit the amount of books that I take to get signed, because it's like an all-day process, right? You have to go to CGC if you're gonna get them graded, and you have to get a witness. They have to follow you to whatever artist you're gonna go get signed. You have to stay in line the whole time. You have to kind of bounce around or whatever you're doing. So it's usually a long process. This time I'm actually going for 2 days, and so I'm hoping that I can get everything done as far as the signatures in the first day on Saturday, and then Sunday will be like my day to kind of just go around, do some digging and stuff like that. That's the plan. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. So in this video, I'm going to show the books that I'm planning on getting signed, and the grades that I'm hoping to get, or at least I think I'm going to get. Obviously it's hit or miss. I'm not an expert by any means. I do press my own books, so the books that I'm showing you, some of them have been pressed and some of them haven't. So, there's guesswork in this as to what I think the books are going to get graded as. So, without further ado, let's see the books that I'm going to get signed. And we're going to do this in order of how many artists I'm getting signed, or artists and writers. And then it's going to go from like one signature to multiple signatures. So the first one up is this guy right here, and this is Gotham City Sirens #1. This is an awesome variant cover by J.G. Jones. They will be there, and just an excellent book to get signed. I looked in the census, and there's not many of these on the census graded, even less signed. And thought this was a great book. What sucks is Boston Fan Expo is happening on the same weekend, and Paul Dini is going to be at Boston Fan Expo. So it just kind of sucks that they will both not be at the same show, because it would have been nice to get 2 signatures on it. But it is what it is. I'm picking this show because there's more artists that I prefer. It just sucks that I can't get both, and I just can't make it to both shows. So first book is this guy right here, and I already pressed this one. It had some ticks on it, but it pressed out very nicely. I am shooting for at least a 9.6 on this guy, possibly even a 9.8, but I'm hoping for at least minimum 9.6 on this guy, so that'd be awesome. So good book right there. All right, next one up is this guy right here, and the reason why I'm getting this one signed is, one, I love this cover. I've been collecting a lot of the original Venomized covers, but this artist, rarely shows up to a lot of shows, as far as I know anyway. And the book in question is this guy right here, and this is Secret Avengers #21. This is the Koi Fam variant cover, and Koi Fam is going to be there. Like I said, I haven't really seen him at a lot of shows. Maybe it's just me. I don't really go to that many shows, actually. So when I saw his name, this was an awesome book. I believe I bought this graded as a 9.4. So you can see I already cracked it out right there, 9.4. I believe I got this at my local comic shop because I couldn't find anywhere that I bought it at. So I'm pretty sure I bought it there. And it was a decent price, so I thought it was pretty good. And when I looked it over, it looked like there was some things that I could get out. There's like a little crunch down here, and maybe a little crunch up here that goes like through the book. It's in the front and back. But I think if I get all of that out, this might actually come back as like at least a 9.6. I'm hoping, if at worst case scenario it just comes back same grade, but I'm hoping to at least get that little bump. If I can do that, excellent. So happy to get this signed at the show. So that's book number 2. And book number 3 is this guy right here. Just one of my favorite covers from this artist, David Finch. I love David Finch. And this book, I had it before, I sold it, and I bought it back. Just happy to have it in the collection. And yeah, it's an all white, well, mostly white cover, and it's this guy right here. It's Ultimatum number 1. This is the David Finch 1 in 100 variant, and I love this cover. Right, it's minimal in a sense where obviously there's a lot of white, but the Magneto on the throne with Mjolnir, and it's just a badass cover. It's just so sick. Magneto looking just ballerific, right? Like it's just crazy. So I love this cover. There's some like crunching down here, and like some spine ticks that you can't really see until you see it up close because it obviously is all white. I believe there's a couple little ticks in the back, but the back is all white as well. So it might be a little easier, and there's no dirt on it. This was also a 9.4, and as you can see, it had like the the nice fancy label, which again, I don't really care. I didn't buy the book for the label. I bought it because of the cover, and but yeah, this was just an awesome cover, and I'm hoping that I can get a bump after I press all that out. Again, at least to a 9.6. It was a 9.4. If I can get that one bump to a 9.6, awesome. If it comes back a 9.8, even better. But that's what I'm shooting for. And I'm getting this signed by David Finch and Jeff Loeb. So Jeff Loeb actually wrote the story on this, and he's actually going to be there. So double whammy. A lot of white space on this. So I'm trying to get it signed. Obviously not on Magneto. If I can just get it signed across the bottom, get both of them to sign it across from each other, perfect, right? They'll be right in the bottom, out of the way. It's not messing up any of the art, and you'll be able to see their signatures clear. So I think that'll be awesome. So there's that one right there. All right. Next up is another book that I've had this book for a long time. One of the first books that I bought when I got back into collecting. I had it before, sold my whole collection, got it back. Love this character, and this was their first appearance. We'll get into that later on with one of the other books, but it's one of those. And this was also one of the first books I ever got graded. Didn't know at the time about like pressing and cleaning and all that stuff. I just literally submitted it. Didn't even know what grading was either. And it's this guy right here. We have Uncanny X-Men 266, the first appearance of Gambit. And I know the whole, the first appearance is, X-Men Annual 14, blah, blah, it came out first, and he's in a bunch of panels and, stuff like that. And, whatever, right? You speak to Chris Claremont. He's the guy who wrote the story. This was supposed to be the book that came out first. Obviously, he's on the cover. It says, Enter the Mutant called Gambit. It's the first in continuity of story. They mention him, in the story. This is what Chris Claremont wrote. This was supposed to be the first book, because of some kind of error that the other book shipped like 3 weeks earlier or whatever. But obviously when you read the story, because I read the story back when it came out, when I was collecting, and it made no sense when you read the annual and you're like, who the hell is this guy, this mutant that's already there? They're talking to him, they're mentioning my name, he's on the team, and it's like, he came out of nowhere. Like, why is he in the story? It made no sense. And then this book came out, and you're like, oh, okay, well, it looks like this one was supposed to come out first, which was kind of odd. So, whatever the case may be, whether you feel like that one is the first appearance or this is the first appearance, I don't care. I like this cover better, and I still feel like this is his first appearance, because of a technicality or whatever the other one is, fine. But I still feel like this is his first appearance. Just great Andy Kubrick art. Obviously he's not going to be there, so that would have been awesome to get him to sign it as well. But Chris Claremont will be there, and also Joe Rubinstein will be there as well. So I will get this double signed. I think that'll be awesome. This was a 9.2. Like I said, this was one of my first submissions that I ever submitted to CGC. I, again, didn't know anything about cleaning and pressing or the whole grading thing. I was just collecting books. And when I took it out and I looked it over, you can clearly see a lot of the damage that made it a 9.2. There was a big like dent on Gambit's leg. There was a crease over here, crease up here, a bunch of spine ticks, spine ticks in the back, a nice crease going over the back cover and the bottom, and pressed this out, and that all came out. So I'm hoping, at least at the bare minimum, it's a 9.4 and I get at least one bump. I don't think it's going to get a 9.6 because the wrap is not like perfect. It's good here, and then all of a sudden you can see a little bit of white. So the wrap is not perfect. The corners look okay, but again, you just never know. Maybe they might be a little more lenient with this now that it's damn near a 30-year-old book. But again, like I said, I got all the spine ticks out, got the bumps out. It looks way better, so I'm hoping for at least at the minimum 9.4. If it gets a 9.6, excellent. If I get super lucky and this comes back at 9.8, that would be amazing, but I doubt it. I'm shooting for like that 9.4, 9.6 range. So double sign, that would be awesome, right? This one is kind of a little tougher because there's not a lot of white. So if they write their name, they're going to have to do it in certain spots. I know Chris Claremont's signature is pretty big. And Joe Rubenstein's not too bad. I have a Wolverine book back there that I can kind of take a look at and see how big, because Chris Claremont and Joe Rubenstein signed that one. So I can see how big their signatures are, and maybe I can try to fit it somewhere. Maybe it has to go along the X-Men logo or something, because I just don't want it on Storm or Gambit. Maybe somewhere down here, but maybe somewhere in the dirt, but make it bold, like blue or something, so you could see, and then maybe one on the X-Men, but we'll see. But yeah, this is an awesome one to get signed and have in the PC. Next is another one that I wanted this couple to sign it because it's a book that they both worked on. Two legends. They've been in the industry for a long time, and very cool people. And so I'm hoping, I don't think this book is going to be anywhere near 9.8. There's some ticks in the back, and there's a black cover in the back, so you can clearly see them. But I'm hoping at least I can stay in the 9s with this one. And it is this one right here. And this is X Factor number 24. And this is the first appearance of Archangel. Awesome character. I wasn't too big of a fan of Angel, but when he became Archangel, he was actually badass. So I actually like this book. Louise Simonson, Walt Simonson will be there. They both worked on this book, which is awesome. So, I know I had like a Thor 337, and I know Walt Simonson worked on, he did everything on it. He wrote it and drew it. But I wanted something that they both worked on, and this was perfect. I was like, oh, I do have a book that they both worked on. And also, as a bonus, Bob Wasek is also going to be there. So I'm like, hey, if I can get this triple signed, hell yeah. Like I said, it does have some ticks in the back. The front is actually not that bad. It presents really well. I haven't pressed it yet, but I'm hoping I can get this at least 9.0. Maybe if I can get a 9.2, that would be awesome. I don't know how bad they're going to ding me for those ticks in the back. If I can press those out and make them as minimal as possible, maybe they can still at least get me in that 9 range. The 9.2 is still near mint minus, which would be awesome, and especially if it's triple signed. But that'd be cool as hell. So excited for this one. And like I said, with these artists that are been in the industry for a while, and obviously they're older, it's harder for them to get out to cons, and God willing, we still have them here for a long time. But things happen, right? And you just never know. So I did have some other books that I was thinking about, but I really wanted to get some of these other artists and writers to sign some of these books. So that's why, when you see some of these things, you're like, oh, maybe I had other books, but these are the ones that I really wanted because I wanted these artists. Next one up, speaking of that X-Men 266, we have this one right here. And that is, of course, X-Men Annual 14. So for everybody who's like, oh, no, that's not the first appearance. This is the first appearance. Here it is, right? But again, this is another book that I have that is not in the best condition currently. There is like some crunching down here and some spine ticks and stuff like that that I should be able to get out. The back also has a couple of little spine ticks and stuff. This is probably going to be closer even after I press it out in that like 8.5, maybe 9.0 range. But there's a chance that I can get this quadruple signed, right? So it'll be Chris Claremont. It'll be Art Adams, who did the cover. It'll be Al Milgrom, who did inks on it. And also Bob Wasek, who did inks on it. So this has a chance to be quadruple signed. And if it's, a 9.0, I'm thinking probably closer to an 8.5. But if it could get that 9.0, 9.2, that in that range, just like the other one, that would be amazing, right? Especially getting, all these legends to sign this book, right? And then, whoever, if you X-Men 266 or the annual, I got them both, right? And they'll both be signed, and the debate will be over, right? At that point. But yeah, so I thought that was awesome, and like I said, to get them both, I was like, yeah, why not? So happy to throw that one in there. And last but not least, we have a big boy book. And when I say big boy book, I don't mean like, oh my god, it's a giant book. I mean the size of the book is big. And there's this guy right here. So we have Marvel graphic novel number 4, and this is the first appearance of the New Mutants. And like I said, it's a graphic novel, so this is actually considered a magazine size. I might have to make a separate submission for this one because it's technically considered a magazine, which takes longer and blah blah and all that stuff. It does have like some crunching down here and like a little something over here, and then the back is actually not that bad. It's all black in the back, so any little imperfections will show up on this guy. But it is a first print. I believe there's like 6 printings of this. The first 5, the 2 through 5 are exactly the same. You just have to actually look in the inside or something like that. And I believe the price is different. So this one is $4.95, and then like one of the other ones is a little different price, and then there's a Canadian one, and then I believe the 6th printing is actually Adam Hughes variant cover. It's a completely different cover. I've been looking for that one as well. But getting this one, obviously, Chris Claremont and Bob McLeod are going to be there, and to get them both to sign this would be awesome. And this one is again probably like in that 8.5, maybe 9.0 range after it gets pressed. This is very tough. Again, I believe the criteria for a magazine is a little different than comics. I don't think it's as tight. So maybe this one could get a little higher than that, but I'm figuring probably closer to that 8.5, 9.0 range. But again, first appearance, first print, getting 2 legends to sign this, be awesome, right? Just a little bit of white in certain areas. I don't, we'll take a look and see where they can sign it. Obviously, somebody might have to go right over the New Mutants. Maybe somebody could write over like Charles's head over there or something like that, or maybe down here, something like that. I don't want to mess up too much of the art. I don't want it to be over any of the characters. But it is what it is. So those were the 7 books that I am going to get graded. It could have been a lot more. I think I started with like 10 or 11, and I cut it down because it gets pricey, right? Not only do you have to get the signatures, most artists will charge a little more if you're getting the books graded, and then the pricing for getting signature series books is higher as well. So you go from $27, $28 for a regular blue label. The yellow label is like $45 or something like that. So it's a lot higher, or something something in that range. Maybe not as high, but something like that. So it's a lot, right? And so to condense it as much as you can, to really like limit what you're getting signed, and making sure that the books are at least worth it, in a sense, I guess in a monetary sense, right? I'm not going to get $100 worth of signatures on a $4 book. It's just crazy. But to each his own, right? If that's what you want, go for it, right? But for me, that's usually what I try to like when I'm basing this on. Not just trying to get just books that are dollar bin books essentially. So want it to mean something and stuff like that. But hopefully you guys enjoy those books. Let me know what was your favorite, and pray for that I get high grades on these books. But that's pretty much it. And hopefully I see you guys at Terrificon. I'll be there, and yeah, let's have a great time. All right. Till next time. Talk to you guys later. Peace.